you are a proponent of using case studies for KM. In your experience, what are the scenarios where you think case studies are not very effective for KM?
Case studies are, of course, very useful, and we've written many. There's times when I think case study is not the best or maybe the first response that should be done. And I think some of them are very clear. One is when time is sort of very critical. So if you're in a fast ops, we have operations in motion, emergency responders. You need information knowledge. Pilots are a good example. They have these log books or these pilot books. They have to be able to look up references quickly and find what to do when that light goes on or this buzzer happens. So they have those kinds of decision-making systems for them that help them. The other one is when you get around areas of compliance. So you need people to follow rules and regulations, whether they're safety, governmental regulations, legal issues. You're not really as interested in debates around those topics. There's a lot more information to convey. Speed, of course, is one. When speed of response, you may not be in an emergency, but speed is of the essence to either reply from a competitive point of view or from a technology point of view. So you might need to respond. The other one is also technical, and there's a lot of technical details that are pieces of information that people need to know, and they don't always need to know all of the context. If it's particles that don't work, or materials that don't mix, or procedures that lead to some unsafe outcomes. So that said, I think there's room in all of those situations that I even mentioned where you could go back and say, yes, in the time of operation or in the response, you need some information, you need access to information and knowledge that I can apply immediately for those uses. But you still have a room to study cases in terms of how people behave. So when you look at pilot errors and airline accidents, the book isn't going to save a person. It's going to save them in operation in time. But when you want to train pilots, you take pilots off and you do simulation training in the simulator. You also do case studies of where and how did pilots go wrong in the communications in the cockpit so you don't fall into those kinds of mistakes. So there's room around all of these situations to find pieces of the context and the knowledge that really do need to be packaged in cases. But many of the first response pieces can be packaged up into information sources that can be very useful. And sometimes case studies, frankly, would get too cumbersome in that kind of an environment.